Okay, so this is my current Windows setup, and in this video, I am going to show you exactly how I customized it and how you can create something similar. The main idea behind this setup was to make Windows feel more personal and closer to the kind of environment I like using. I always liked the clean look of Linux desktops, especially the minimal designs, custom terminals, and the amount of control you have over your workflow. In this video, we are going through everything from the theme, icons, cursor, fonts, taskbar, window management, terminal, productivity tools, browser customization, and even Discord. Before starting though, there is one thing I recommend doing. Create a restore point.
Since we are changing things like themes, icons, and system-level customization, having a restore point is a good safety step. Most things should work fine, but if something breaks, you have an easy way to return your system back.
So name the restore point whatever you want and click create. Wait for a few seconds and yeah, it is this simple to create a restore point first rather than wasting days after something breaks. After creating the restore point, we can finally start customizing Windows. The first thing we need is a way to apply custom Windows themes. By default, Windows doesn't allow completely custom themes, so we need Ultra UX Theme Patcher. Basically, it modifies some Windows theme files so we can use third-party themes. This is one of the first things I installed because the default Windows themes are very limited, and if you want to completely change the look of your desktop, this is where you start. Download and run Ultra UX Theme Patcher by following the steps on the screen. You'll need to restart your PC at the end. So basically, we have now modified Windows to be able to use custom themes like Capuchin Mocha theme, which I am going to show you how to install. So follow the steps and download the theme. The main reason I went with Capuchin is because I really like the consistency of the colors. A lot of setups look good individually, but when you open different applications, everything feels disconnected. With Capuchin, the colors are consistent across different apps, terminals, editors, and other tools. The Mocha variant especially gives that dark, calm developer style look that I wanted. You will need to log in here and then watch the user. Then you will get a download button here, click on it. Open the Windows 11 themes folder and copy all the Windows themes files here and paste them on the path on the screen. Now follow the steps to finally apply the theme. After installing the theme, the biggest difference is already visible. The default Windows look is gone, and now we have the base style for the entire setup. Next are the icons. Windows default icons are fine, but they don't really match a heavily customized setup. Since we are already changing the theme, having a matching icon pack makes a huge difference. For this, I used 7TSP. It allows us to replace a lot of Windows icons at once instead of manually changing every single one. The icons which we are going to use are in the Capuchin Mocha theme folder, which we already downloaded. Go there and remove the dot remove at the end of the dark theme icon pack. Then complete the 7TSP setup and restart your computer at the end. After icons, I changed the cursor. This is probably one of the smallest changes, but it is something you see constantly while using your PC. The default Windows cursor works, but a custom cursor that matches the theme makes the whole desktop feel more intentional. Follow the steps on the screen to download and apply the Capuchin Mocha theme cursor. haven't downloaded the cursor now, but you will find Capuchin Mocha cursor here. Just select it and apply the changes. Now the theme, icons, and cursor all follow the same style. The next change is the font. I installed JetBrains Mono Nerd font. The reason for using a nerd font is because many customization tools, especially terminal tools, use special icons and symbols. Without nerd fonts, you might see broken characters instead of the proper icons. Also, JetBrains Mono is just a really clean programming font. Since I spend a lot of time in terminals and code editors, having a font that looks good there is important. Follow the steps on the screen to download the font. After downloading the font, extract the archive and select the JetBrains Mono Nerd Regular, Bold, and others. Right-click on any one of the selected and click on Install. You can also install the mono versions, but I prefer the regular ones over them. After finishing the basic desktop customization, the next thing I changed was the Windows taskbar. The default Windows taskbar works perfectly fine, but for a heavily customized setup, it feels a bit limited. I wanted something that was more customizable and matched the overall style of my desktop. That's where YASB comes in. YASB is a customizable taskbar replacement for Windows. It allows you to completely control how your taskbar looks. The main reason I use YASB is because it gives me the clean minimal look I wanted while still showing useful information. After installing it, you will need to configure it using the config files. YASB is highly customizable, which means almost everything you see can be changed. For my setup, I went with a simple Catpuchin-inspired design to match the rest of my desktop. The reason I built my config this way was to keep it clean. I didn't want a taskbar filled with unnecessary information. I wanted only things I would actually look at while using my PC. If you want to use my config, I will provide a link in the description of this video. This is where you will need to paste the path to a folder which contains all the wallpapers you want to appear on the wallpaper panel. After replacing the taskbar, the next problem was that the default Windows taskbar was still taking up space. This is where taskbar hide comes in. The reason I hide the taskbar is simple. I wanted more screen space and a cleaner desktop. Since YASB is replacing the default taskbar, keeping both visible just creates unnecessary clutter. Download and install taskbar hide by following the steps, and the taskbar will be automatically hidden. To access the Show Hidden Icons menu, press Windows plus B and then enter on your keyboard. Here, after right-clicking on the taskbar hide icon, you can show or hide the taskbar whenever you need. Also, here are some commands you can use to do the same. After setting it up, the desktop feels much cleaner because there is nothing distracting at the bottom of the screen. Now, moving on to something that people usually underestimate, wallpapers. A wallpaper is one of the first things you see every time you open your computer, so it has a bigger impact on the overall feeling of your setup than people think. Even with the best icons, themes, and widgets, a bad wallpaper can ruin the entire look. For my setup, I chose wallpapers that match the same dark and minimal style as the rest of the customization. I wanted something that works well with Catpuchin and doesn't distract from the actual workflow. These wallpapers are from a GitHub repository which I will give a link to in the description. I also added a wallpaper widget in YASB to quickly change the wallpapers. For that to work, you will need to copy the path of the folder and paste it in the wallpaper panel Python file I showed you in the YASB section. Now, moving on to Windhawk. The main thing I use it for is to make my start menu look very minimal. Windhawk is basically a tool that allows you to install small modifications, called mods, that change different parts of Windows. The reason I like Windhawk so much is because unlike completely replacing parts of Windows, most of these changes are lightweight and focused on improving specific things. You can customize things like the Taskbar, File Explorer, animations, and many other parts of Windows. Download and install Windhawk by following the steps on the screen. After installing it, you can search through different mods and install the ones you want. The mods I personally use are mainly focused on improving the overall look and making Windows feel cleaner. The important thing with Windhawk is that you don't need to install every mod available. Only install things that actually improve your workflow or match your setup. Now moving away from visual customization, let's talk about some tools that actually improve how I use my computer every day. The first one is Microsoft PowerToys. PowerToys is basically a collection of small utilities made by Microsoft that add extra features to Windows. I think PowerToys is one of those tools that almost every Windows user should at least try because it solves a lot of small problems. After installing, you can open the PowerToys app to configure its settings and utilities. These are the utilities that I personally use. Awake appears in the hidden icon system tray. I use it very frequently. Color Picker helps you to quickly copy the hex or RGB of a color on the screen. I also use Image Resizer because it makes resizing images much faster. Then I use Peek to get the MacBook-style spacebar peek feature in Windows. My favorite is PowerToys Run. You can use it to quickly search for any file, folder, app, or basically anything without opening the Start menu every time. It's just a replacement for Windows Search. There are many more utilities included in PowerToys, but these are the ones that actually fit into my daily workflow. The next tool is Everything. Windows Search has improved over the years, but for quickly finding files, I still prefer Everything. The main reason is speed. Everything indexes your files and allows you to instantly search through your drives. After installing, it will start indexing your files. Now, whenever I need to find something, instead of manually going through folders, I can just type the name and find it instantly. For example, if I need a project file, an image, or any random file that I forgot the location of, Everything finds it almost immediately. To make this even better, I use the Everything plugin inside PowerToys Run. This connects both tools together. Instead of opening everything separately, I can just open PowerToys Run and search directly through my files. Follow the steps to download and set up Everything PowerToys plugin. This is a small change, but these small improvements are what make the overall workflow feel faster. Now we are moving to one of the biggest changes in my setup: window management. GlazeWM is a tiling window manager for Windows. If you have used Linux desktop environments before, you might already know the idea behind tiling window managers. Instead of manually moving and resizing windows, the system automatically arranges them for you. The reason I started using GlazeWM is because I wanted a workflow similar to Linux tiling window managers while staying on Windows. For my configuration, I focused on keeping it simple. I mainly changed things like keybinds, gaps between windows, appearance, and behavior. Now the default GlazeWM arranges the windows in a straight direction, which doesn't look very good. To make it look like this, where it automatically arranges them in a spiral manner, we need an extra app called Glaze Auto Tiler. Follow the steps to download and set up Glaze Auto Tiler. Set the layout to window layout to make it arrange the windows in spiral manner. Together, GlazeWM and Auto Tiler create the workflow I wanted from the start: a clean, organized desktop where windows manage themselves. Now moving on to one of my favorite parts of this setup, the terminal. The reason I customized my terminal was because I wanted something closer to the Linux terminal experience. I always liked how Linux terminals look with useful information, clean prompts, and a minimal design. The default settings of the Windows terminal didn't match the rest of my setup, so I changed things like the font, colors, transparency, and other settings to match the cat Puchin theme. The main things I changed were the background style, font, color scheme, and some profile settings. The goal was to make the terminal feel like it belongs with the rest of the desktop. I will provide a link to this settings file in the description. Next is FastFetch. FastFetch is a command line tool that displays system information in a clean way. You might have seen similar tools on Linux setups. It shows things like operating system, hardware information, memory usage, and other details. Next thing is to make a profile file for the terminal. It is a file which will automatically run some commands at every start of the terminal. I will write this command in the description. will provide a link to this file in the description. You will need to paste the path to the config file of FastFetch and Oh My Posh here. I will show it to you in a while. To install Oh My Posh, paste this command. I will paste it in the description so you can just copy and paste it from there. To make FastFetch look better, we need to change its config file. I will provide a link to my config in the description. In the same folder as the config, make a new file called asci.txt and paste any ASCII art you like there. Then copy its path and paste it in the FastFetch config file. This is the config file of Oh My Posh prompt. The link to this file will also be in the description. The reason I use it is because the prompt is something you see every single time you open the terminal. Small things like showing the current directory, Git information, or icons make the experience much better. For my setup, I chose a minimal prompt that matches the rest of my theme. So the path to both of these configs are to paste it here in the profile file. So now our terminal looks way better than the old black box. Now it has a minimal cat Puchin look. Now this is something that is completely for the aesthetic. Cava. Cava is an audio visualizer that displays music frequencies directly in the terminal. To install it, write this command in the terminal. After setting it up, it becomes another small detail that makes the entire setup feel more alive. We also have a music visualizer on the top bar. Now let's move on to some smaller utilities that I use. These are not necessarily the main parts of the setup, but they improve the overall experience. The first one is BTOP for Win. BTOP is a system monitor that shows information about your computer resources. To install it, type this command in the terminal. Here are the settings I use to make it look more cooler. The final terminal utility is FZF. FZF is a fuzzy finder. Basically, it allows you to search through things quickly without needing exact names. For example, instead of remembering the exact name of a file or command, you can type a few characters and quickly find what you need. It is a small tool, but once you get used to it, it becomes very useful. To install FZF, type this command in the terminal. Now, moving on to my browser setup. For my browser, I use Brave. The main reason I switched to Brave was because of the built-in privacy features and the clean experience. It also works well with customization because you can change its appearance and make it match your setup. I customized Brave with the Cat Puchin theme to match the rest of my desktop. I also changed some settings and installed a few extensions that I actually use. These extensions are not just for making the browser look better, they are things that actually improve my workflow. These are the settings I use. You can either copy these settings or also explore them by your own to match your style. These are the extensions I use. The online photo tool is useful to save any image in any format. The volume booster extension is also very useful to boost volume of low volume websites. The sponsor block extension is useful to automatically skip the sponsored section of YouTube videos. Finally, we have Discord. Discord is something most people use daily, so I also wanted it to match my setup. For this, I use Better Discord. Better Discord allows you to customize Discord with themes and plugins. Download and install Better Discord by following the steps shown on screen. One thing I recommend is to save the Better Discord installer file somewhere on your PC, because Discord updates can break Better Discord, so having a saved file helps to quickly reinstall Better Discord. I will provide my styles.css file in the description. You can paste it from there and paste the path of wallpaper in it. These are the plugins I use. Now Discord matches the rest of my setup instead of looking completely separate. And that is basically the complete setup. After customizing everything, Windows feels completely different from the default experience. The biggest changes for me were definitely YASB, GlazeWM, the terminal customization, and the overall theme consistency. But you definitely do not need to install everything shown in this video. Some tools are just for aesthetics, while others actually improve workflow. The best setup is not the one with the most customizations. It is the one that fits how you actually use your computer. So take inspiration from this video, pick the things you like, and build your own setup. Thanks for watching, and here is the final look of the setup.